Welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for Friday, the 26th of April. I'm Stephen Ridgway. WordPress. Again, WordPress. There is a vulnerability in WP Automatic, which is being targeted. It's a SQL injection vulnerability. It is being actively targeted. There are currently 30,000 websites on which WP Automatic is installed. If you aren't aware, if you're using it, you will know, but if you're not aware, it allows administrators to automate content importing, like text and images and videos and things from various sources into their WordPress site. So it simplifies automatically adding content to your websites. So the particular vulnerability that is being targeted at the moment is CVE 2024-27956, which has got a CVSS score of 9.9 out of 10. So pretty important to get on top of this. The patch the vulnerability has been known for a week or so, but the attacks haven't really started to hit the websites until quite recently. The solution is to patch or upgrade WP Automatic to version 9.92.1 or later. And as I always say when I'm talking about WordPress, don't rely on it to auto-update itself. It doesn't always do it. Brocade are a manufacturer of storage area network SAN appliances. One of the longer standing companies in this space, very well used, certainly seen it over the years a lot in sort of big enterprise organizations. Well, actually, and also not so big enterprise organizations. However, there are 18 vulnerabilities in the Brocade SAN Nav management application. I'm not going to read out the numbers of the vulnerabilities because that would be very long and very boring. There's a good article from Security Week which sets this stuff out. Combinations of these vulnerabilities, which are exploitable vulnerabilities, can do all sorts of nastiness. So I would say I would recommend you take a look at this article if you're not already on top of patching your Brocade SANs. Then this is stuff to look out for. I would say that partial mitigation to this could be good network design. Hopefully your SAN management web interface is not easily accessible from most of your office, and hopefully definitely not accessible over the web or from the internet. So you probably got a little bit more time in which to work out. As long as you've got good network design, you'll have a little bit more time to work out what you're going to do with this stuff. But it is another indication of why having proper segmentation of your network architecture is a very good idea, despite that having gone out of favor for 10 years or so. Really seriously think about it. Management interfaces should be in a management VLAN, and you can only get to that management VLAN from specific management devices, blah de blah de blah. If you are running a on-prem type solutions, which, by the way, are coming back into fashion. One of my predictions for this year, a bit late with them, but never mind, is that we'll see an increasing number of organizations moving out of the cloud and back onto on-prem for two reasons, by the way. First one being, it's so much more expensive to do it in the cloud. I can hear a load of cloud advocates immediately boiling over and steam coming out of their ears and things, but it is. it is cheaper to buy the server and run it in a colo than it is to have a server. Unless you've got um, the sorts of environments that require a great deal of flexibility, the ability to spin things up and then shut them down at very short notice in order to do, for example, load balancing dependent on whatever triggers there are, be they sort of customer facing or whatever it may be. Yeah, that is then cheaper. But if you've got stuff which is just going to be switched on and left on, it is, I'm still reasonably confident, cheaper to run that stuff on your own tin than it is to run it on the cloud tin. Also, I think we will increasingly see that whilst the argument is still out there that cloud is more secure, it's not. It actually is no easier to secure cloud systems, especially if you're running kind of EC2 compute instances in the cloud. It's no easier to secure those than it is to secure them yourself. The cloud provider does not do this for you, even if you may think they do. The ability to control traffic flows is more complicated in the cloud than it is on a physical network, although a load of cloud devs are going to be going, no, it's not, I'm sure. Well, sorry, it is. You just got to know what you're doing on the network side of things, and that's why we all have specialities. I don't develop things, for example, because our lead developer, Steve, would die a death if he saw any of my code. Anyway, so yeah, that's the case. Now, the other thing about cloud and security then is that there is a layer below which you can't go in the cloud, and that layer is compromised. So the provider layer and all of the virtualization stuff that you don't get to go anywhere near as a user of cloud services, that stuff is compromised more often than you would realize. So there we are. That's my cloud rant for the day. So Crush FTP servers have got a vulnerability which is being actively exploited. So there's something in the region of 1,400 Crush FTP servers that have been so far found online that are vulnerable to attacks. It is a critical server-side template injection vulnerability. Trackers CVE 2024-4040. It's effectively functionally as a VFS sandbox escape. So again, look for, it's actively being targeted, so look for patches and keep up on top of that one. And then finally, from me for today and this week, billions of Discord messages are being sold online. Excuse me. The messages have been scraped, but they're being scraped by a company called Spy.pet, who is selling effectively the data from millions of Discord users, which results to billions of Discord messages, including stuff that was intended to be private, confidential, or if you're using Discord for company communications, the sort of stuff that you would have expected to have remained within your company. It's all been scraped. It's all out there. You are potentially at risk in this case. Normal mitigations are all you can do at this point. Make sure that you can you're securing your Discord user accounts properly. And just to put this back into context, the data has been being gathered since November last year for over 4 billion public messages, 14,000 servers, and nearly 630 million users. So one of the things to bear in mind with this is something which I think a lot of, it's not in the forefront of the mind of a lot of organizations. The data is much more persistent than you would expect. So just be cautious about what, proactively manage what messaging, where your messages are and how they're stored and how long they're being stored for. Don't rely on your SaaS providers to, well, not even SaaS, I don't know, service as a service or whatever you call it, your web platform providers to manage this stuff for you. Well, that's plenty from me for today. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you all again